us being a little bit more in the middle of our careers, right? You hear this like, oh man, if I had these tools like before, that would have made a difference. It probably would have made a difference. But at the same time, we didn't have the experience to actually utilize that tool. Like it comes at the perfect time, I think. Your experience and the resources that you have available, they all kind of line up. There's no one, you can argue that fighters have way more, better facilities now to train, maybe more experienced coaches, training partners. Yes, that's true. That does make a difference. You tend to jumpstart the career a little bit more. But still yet, they don't have the experience that these guys went through, right? You need that experience like you're talking about, because that teaches you a lot more than just having all the knowledge, which is what you're saying. Like you can learn how to fly a plane in here, right? But until you actually get more experience, the knowledge, you can't really apply it.
You're not going to know how to fly a plane just because you learned it. You know what I mean? Or you memorized it or whatever it is. Like learning it it's engraved in you. You know how to do it. You know what I mean? Knowing it is different. I know how to fly a plane, but I never learned. Like, you know what I'm saying? I know of it. I don't know.
And that can be applied to everything. And talking more about this experience, you got to experience things, right? And everything that we talked about in this first half, I like to relate this with my field, performance training, strength and conditioning, rehab, because think about to the first time we met, right? Working on your knees, right? Your hips. We won't go into too much of the details, but I can give you all of the information. Like, okay, if this improves, this is going to help this, right? You know that intellectually, you heard it, right? But until you go through like maybe a couple months and then you experience like, oh, I can actually do this better. I have more power. I have more strength out of this leg. That's the experience part that made it connect and come full circle. Other than that, because you can right now, literally with all the resources online and internet, you can find all of the information. Way more information than I can give you. But the experience, with someone that has seen it, has done it, has helped people with it, that's the experience that makes it tied together. And I'm not saying that I have nearly all the experience, but what I've seen over and over, especially with, injuries and trying to train smarter with injuries, those are the things that I like to look at to help me to apply it better to each athlete. And along those lines too, thinking about what we talked about before, right? With the evolution of the field. Even when I was in college, right? The amount of things that we were paying attention to, it has grown so much. Even for me in the past, 5 years or so, like trying to understand more of the nutrition component. Everyone knows that nutrition and exercise go together. Nutrition and rehab go together. But until you actually work with one person, one athlete, right? About nutrition and exercise, you don't really see how much of an impact it could have, even though you know that it's going to make a big difference, right? With rehab too, the things that we're focusing on now with evolution, even some of the gadgets and gizmos and recovery techniques and understanding the neurology of injury, right? You hear a lot of resources, you listen to podcasts about that, all of these little things. I think it evolves so much that if you're not looking at learning and experiencing more of the new things that are out there, really it's a disservice to yourself and the athletes and all of that. So that's where it's very similar. I think MMA, sports, they all evolve, right? But so does the field of training and strength and conditioning, which is kind of like my professional sport, I guess, learning about all of these things and experiencing it for myself and with you guys too. That's where there's a lot of carryover and overlap with what I learned from you.
I think that's good. Like for me, it's that part is like the best statement I could think of when that relates to that is you do what you always did, you get what you always got.
That's true.
Right? You know what I mean? And then those are the times that things evolve and there's more. Like I said, that attention, bro. It's so different now because more people want to be in it, and then with more people, there's more styles, there's more of everything, more problems, more adjustments, right? Like
that's true.
There's so much different things, right? How many athletes at football, but they don't have all the same injuries, or they have the same injuries, but it's activated a different way.
Yep.
Or you're like, oh wow, how come this was like I could have the same ACL injury as someone else, but for some reason that motion is stronger, or this motion is stronger. And that's the biggest thing about athletes is before strength and conditioning and especially recovery was just, okay, I feel better now. I'll get back to work.
Yep.
Now it's, why do I feel like this? How do I not feel like this anymore?
Yep.
And what do I do to not feel like that, to keep it, to get better?